I'm never blowing bubbles ever again. Oh, we'll play games. We can definitely play games.
Hello, everybody. Fuck birds. Hello, everybody, and how are you today? Quinn, how are you? Thank you for becoming a member. Good afternoon, Rich. Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm having a day. It's 6 a.m. Damn, you're up at 6? Well, I actually was up kind of at the same time. My kids were here this morning. So. Yeah, I don't know how I did that for that long, actually. It must be the weed. I was like, wait, I'm actually doing this mode for a long time. Her hotel was even doxxed. I heard about that. I need to find out the whole situation from both sides. Because I see narratives being pushed. I don't know which narrative is real. I know that what has happened to her is awful, and it's terrible, and the people are pieces of shit. But I want to know... There's 30 sides to every story, actually, not just 2. Hey, Rich, do you only have one shirt? Yes. This is the only shirt that I have. She got swatted. They took her shit, which that I find insane. I mean, you're the victim of a fucking SWAT, a fake police report. And, like, they treat you like the fucking... Like you're the suspect. All right, cool. Whatever, you know. Yeah, remember the poo sweater I wore that all the time too. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the hell happened with that. I see a lot of people on Twitter which piss me off, which are like, well, if she shut her mouth more, this wouldn't happen. I open my mouth all the time. I mean, I've been swatted before, but never near anything what she went through. I'm the biggest fucking... No, I'm not the biggest dick on this platform. I'm a fairly metaphorically big dick. You see anybody doing that to me? You know what I mean? What the hell? It's 5:30 a.m. Why are you up at 5:30? For me, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, bro. You know what I mean? It's almost 4:30 here. I mean, I know this isn't my normal stream time. But, nah, it's too early for Abby. It's too early for Abby. Yeah, you got, I mean, everyone's from all over the place, so the times are all different for you. So, like, Rich, it's 4 o'clock in the morning here. Like, it's 4:30 p.m. almost here. You know? I don't even bother with QE farms. I don't even bother with it. Actually, I tripped into it recently looking at somebody because it's what popped up about them. So, besides that... Ah, it is 4:20 here. It's hot and your taint is moist. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, it's, I was like, why the hell? I don't know why the hell I'm streaming. It's because I'm waiting. Now, Neo says they're sending me also the pro version of the Air. I'm not going to make 2 videos on them. So I'm going to just wait for the other one and talk about both of them. You know what I mean? This thing. This is that Orion screen from Upswitch. Here's the battery on the back of it. Look at this shit. And it's interesting. It's so bad that I like it. You put your Switch in here. I'm not going to take it out now. I'll take it out obviously in the video. The Switch is in here. There is vents. There was a lot of people that were concerned that there was no vents. There's venting, so you don't have to worry about your Switch overheating. Let me turn it on real quick. The screen is adequate, but it's not great. I don't think it's a full 1080p panel. From what I've seen from a couple other reviews I've watched, it's 1366 by 768. Come on, screen. Wait, you're not going to turn on now? Oh, here we go. Here we go. And what the hell? Here. It's a giant. Look at this thing. It's a giant. Can you see it? Giant screen. Giant Nintendo Switch Quadruple XL. I got a battery coming that I bought that I won't have to worry about this being in the way of my hands. But that's the thing too, it doesn't come with a battery. Like, I'm not going to recommend it. It would be silly to recommend it, but it is. There's just something about it, man. I don't know. Can you see it, or am I being really stupid right now? 41-year-old man showing you Kirby. Breaking news. I'm Philip Burnell. But screens, I mean, it's obviously not going to be vibrant, even as like the base IBS panel. But I have to say, laying in bed, I was playing Zombie Army 4 on here. Do I love cookies? Yeah, in my ass. And then I take them out of my ass and eat them. So now you know that. So there you go, Alec. Yeah, perfectly seasoned is the best way. You have a little bit of course it's heavy. I have a battery pack that's too big. That's why the straps aren't down in the back. I have the more practical one coming for it. But it's not bad. I mean, the screen has anti-reflective coating. What am I doing? And can you see it? It says it's 1080p. From what I hear, it's 1366 by 768. But how much is this thing? I don't even know that yet. Like I said, I'm doing the review. I'm going to review this first, actually. Yeah, let's find that out. Okay, well, let me stop playing Kirby like a fucking child right now. And, I want to turn you off. Let's find out how much it is. That may change my emotions about it. You know what? Hey, Upswitch. There should be a handle here somehow, because now it's a pain in the ball. I gotta like hold it carefully to like place it down. Criticism. The kickstand too is really lopsided. I don't know what we'll do tonight. I'm gonna stream for a while. So it's how much is that thing? Let's find out. That may change my... That might, like I said, that may change my emotions about it. Upswitch, Orion, price. Orion by Upswitch. Okay, cool. $250. No. If it was like $199, I would say if you really have like a kind of like, if you just like weird accessory shit, it is kind of nice, man, playing Zombie Army 4. That's actually a surprisingly good port too. That's, I gotta say, it's a pretty cool experience. It's heavy. You're not gonna hold it like this. Like, if that's what you think you're gonna do with it, is the Pro version Aya Neo the same power as the Steam Deck? See, this is why I'm gonna wait for all the versions to make that video, because I was like, I was literally gonna record this video today on the Aya Neo Air, and then I saw from Aya Neo in my RTU advertising email, they're like, oh, we're sending you the Pro. I'm like, I'm gonna do all of them. Like, I might as well do them. Like, I'm not gonna make multiple videos, and I could do a little comparison to the Steam Deck. You know, my problem is with them, I'm going to say this from the get-go, and for some reason other people are not, most other reviews aren't mentioning this. They're not RDNA 2, which it's not even about the power necessarily. Like, it's more about how efficient it is with battery. And on top of it, yeah, you're getting much, the per compute unit performance of RDNA 2 is so much more than a Vega compute unit, you know? Yeah, the RDNA 2 graphics, like, so I feel almost like these, like, when they have that, this is a pretty fucking cool product. The battery life sucks, though. Like, even playing at 8 watts, which is sipping power out of one of these things, even at 8 watts, if I play, like, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which I really recommend, like, the 8-bit versions of Bloodstained, even Bloodstained itself is pretty cool. Story is stupid, but who cares? One level, my battery life went down 10%. A level in Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is not long. Think of it, 11%. Think about that. That's like, and that game's like, so you at 8 watts, you have like an hour and change for battery life. So yeah, okay, it's a really pretty good ergonomic design. I think it kind of looks, everyone says it looks really nice. I personally think it looks dated. It looks like something from 2006. Maybe that's your bag. That the bezel around the OLED screen bothers me a little bit. Their software, I've talked about in a few other streams, is shit. You have to fix your software. I just uninstall it and put my own shit on there. I use APU tuner. I'm probably pumping way too much wattage into the I pump in, like, I could actually get Elden Ring to run at high settings and stay over 30 FPS at 720p, which for that tiny thing is impressive. You're playing Elden Ring at a stable 30 FPS, and it's not even, it's high settings, but 28 watts. You want to know what the battery life, as soon as you'll get like 30 minutes out of that shit. 30 minutes. 28 watts into that. Bloodborne is the best Hidetaka Miyazaki game. I hear that. That's why I want to play it. I've played some of it. It's pretty fucking awesome. Just so you know, I'm on a toilet producing turds. Congratulations on being on that toilet. Hey, Rich, been watching for you for years. I love you, man. So what I've been doing with that thing is like, oh, I mean, they have the Aya space software. It's just broken, man. Like, you know, it's annoying too. You need the software to control. Like, you see the lights on the joysticks I showed you? They're red right now. When you need that software to control the lights and even turn them off, but the software, like I went to go use Aya Space. It's really wonky with the controlling the lights on the analog sticks. Oh, look, there's an update. Every time I install the update for Aya Space, it just crashed and stopped. You couldn't use Aya Space anymore. I'm like, get the fuck off of this computer. I'll just download Controller Companion from Steam, which I bought, which I recommend that software. It lets you use your controller as the mouse and keyboard. And I install APU tuner to change the TDP. much better. You know, like that's the other thing about these too. Like, I'm excited to get my hands on one of these Ryzen 7 6800U, which has the RDNA 2 graphics with 12 compute units, which is quite a bit. Especially for integrated graphics, that's impressive. But Windows sucks. I remember when I was first going to get the Steam Deck, the first thing I said I was going to do was install Windows. Now, after using Steam OS, no way. No way. Windows, especially on that smaller screen, too. Like, if you got to punch in a password, even if you're using the mouse, like the controller companion software is a pain in the ass, and you have a tiny screen, so you're trying to interface with Windows on a tiny 1080p OLED screen. Pretty nice one. Not the best OLED panel, but pretty damn good. It's such a small screen, you know? David Hogan. AIDS? Do you mean ads? I see people like, what the fuck is it? AIDS? What are you talking about, AIDS? Here. It's off. Sometimes I forget. All I have to do is just turn it off. There. Monetization off. Ta-da. Yeah, so AIDS. Okay. You just recently became Camelot's editor. Good for you, man. Congratulations. Can you have multiple Steam Decks or Stream Decks? Yeah. You know? No, Camelot, the YouTuber. YouTube giving everybody AIDS. Oh, man, that was pretty funny. I farted and it's silly. That's usually how it goes when you fart. It's very rare that a fart is odorless. I mean, another thing about going back to this Orion is like, that's expensive. I mean, it's so cool. I'll definitely use it. It's actually like so ridiculous that I like using it. Would I buy one of these? Hell no. Am I going to tell my audience to buy one of these? Fuck no. No way. Dropping a log in your honor. Oh, I got new soundboard sounds. You early fucks.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again. Oh, we'll play games. We can definitely play games.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
I cannot believe a 40-year-old man said that and meant it. Like, I do stupid shit, but don't mean it. Like, he meant this.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
Oh, man. Oh, God. I'm never blowing bubbles ever again. You took away my likes. You took away my likes. That's it. No more bubbles for you. Oh, God. Did we ever watch the Xbox 360 launch? Hi, I'm Bubbles.
Oh, we'll play games. We can definitely play games.
Would you? No, let's watch that for a while, and then we'll play. Well, let me see. Actually, that's a lie. Let me see if I need to update my PS5. There's a good. No, you don't have to worry about that anymore because it automatically does it generally. Why am I talking like this? Bloodborne is installed. Cool. All right, let me see if there's any updates for my PS nipple. Downloads. No, it's still system software installed. Ah, it's installed. Cool. Why am I staring at it? Okay. Nah, it's still installing. Bloodborne still. I hate the ready-to-play shit. Install. No, Bloodborne's not 60 FPS fucking S, which pisses me. But I want to play it anyway. All right, let's watch. I'll change it to. Watching Xbox 360 reveal 2005. There. His DSP. Actually, he is 60 FPS. Seriously, he is. Tevin is watching him unbox his closet. I wish I could. I wish I could, but I can't. He'll fucking. I know he would be the type that would be a tight ass and strike me, so I'm not doing it. It's the final closet. Oh, good. We'll watch it. We'll watch his VOD. We'll watch his VOD. All right. Are you ready for some excitement?
This is your life now.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
I gotta turn those up. I always thought this was the stupidest, minus the fact that she's hot, I always thought this was the stupidest fucking intro. You were 2 in 2005? Jesus Christ, man. I was 23, 24.
Hello, and my name is Kim. I'm here to start you on a journey into the future of entertainment. It's a future where I am always at the center of a world of experiences that include my games and my friends.
This is so unnatural. Hi, I'm Bubbles. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. Yeah. And they dropped the Saturn that day. They thought it was going to be like some surprise attack on Sony, and they just essentially shot themselves in the foot with a sawed-off shotgun, Sega, that is.
It's a future where my games are always personalized to match my desires. A future where those games connect me to the people and experiences I care about most. That future starts right here.
I was 24, 23, 24, like I said.
Right now.
And I remember when they first, because this is like in my, I kind of really didn't give a shit about gaming phase I always talk about. And I remember this guy at work, it was funny, he was actually a little older than me, but he looked like he was 12 wearing his dad's suit. That's why I work furniture sales. He wouldn't shut the fuck up about the Xbox 360. And I remember, this was before it launched, I remember being like, dude, Sony's going to just wipe the floor with them again with the PlayStation 3. You know that, right? And I was so wrong, at least in the beginning. Yeah, but it was actually a couple years before I got into the 7th generation of consoles. I like I said, I wasn't that. It was the 360 though, which got me back into gaming. Which ironically, it was that console that spurred my interest in, you know, passion for. I hate using passion; it's corny, but it's true passion for gaming. And I may not be doing this right now if it wasn't for the Xbox 360, for better or for worse.
This is my Xbox 360. It's here.
God, the compression is so bad on this video. It almost looks like the 360 they're showing is dirty. It's funny.
And it's on.
I believe this was the first major retail console that came out of the box, at least the premium version with the wireless controller. Ah, the Blades dashboard. Yeah, her 360 was probably the first to get red rings. %50 failure rate. 50 at the time. 50 fucking percent, man. That's insane. God, this is such a mid-2010. Yes, it's very true, Rational Skeptic. I think it was Bungie that said the hard drive made what they did possible. This music's probably gonna get me claimed, but whatever. It's 2000. It's 2005, man. Well, what's in the build? What's the best for 4K gaming and streaming is like that. That is such a broad. I mean, that sounds like it should be a beefy AMD or Intel CPU, probably at least like a 3070. I would say 32 gigs of RAM. Finish the Xbox documentary, probably. Minus the corny. Oh God, that's so too mid-2000s too. The faceplates. Oh man, I'm surprised they don't have like Santana and Cameron behind there putting it on.
Please welcome Robbie Barr, Jay Allard, and Peter Moore.
Oh, there's no reason not to get an 8-core processor, at least in 2022. We could watch that next, Rational. That sounds like a good one. Dreamcast. Yeah, that's a pretty. The 360, that's perfect. Was the BMW consoles, a beast of machinery, fresh off the assembly line, garbage and constant breakdown. 50%. See, I think there's no reason not to get anything below 8 cores in 2022. They're so affordable now. Or okay, or maybe all right. That sounds elitist, but like if you compare the prices of a 6-core and 8-core, it's just kind of like just get the 8-core. You know, or say wait till you have the money and get the 8-core. I mean, shit, even the Series S now has an AMD Zen 2 8-core CPU in there, you know. I got a red cock ring and that blue bubbles. That... Okay. Hi, Rich. Best of luck with your new chapter of YouTube. Only getting around to saying this because you normally stream when you are in bed. I stream when I'm in bed. That would be a kind of a kinky stream.
Breasts.
I know what you meant, though.
Breasts. 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 Breasts.
Oh, we'll play games. We can definitely play games.
I mean, I'm still like I uploaded the Spawnwave video. I'm doing like, and if there is good news, like I was like, you know what, just for the hell of it, people are already saying I'm flip-flopping. Let me see if there's any news. There wasn't a single fucking goddamn thing to talk about except some developer who puts their Nintendo Switch dock sideways. Oh!
Oh, we'll play games. We can definitely play games.
You know? Thank you, Jacob.
Welcome to the future of gaming. We're here tonight to offer new ways to experience games and entertainment, to redefine what it means to have fun.
Why does he have? My God. Oh, but sometimes I think the styling of the mid 2000s is worse than like the 90s with like he has a pull up like almost like a windbreaker shirt under with a dress jacket. What is that? What? Oh my! And someone they probably paid some stylist who gets paid 6 fucking figures chose that. Oh Christ, man!
Tonight, I'm here to tell you about a new product. It's inspired by the creative power of the individual and driven by the passion of a worldwide community. With Xbox 360, we've created technology that will enable people from every age and every corner of the planet to gather together in new ways.
Like, look at his setup, too. Look. Orange t-shirt, hoodie, zipped up, and then a dress jacket. What the fuck was this? Well, now they went from baggy pants, which were ridiculous. Now it's like, it's literally the pants. You could see their asshole being formed where the crack is because they're so tight. Like, how did we go from Janko jeans to that shit? No tie with a suit jacket, mid-2000s at their best. My first super chat. By the way, thank you very much, man. By the way, Rich, you plan on getting the Steam Deck case from D-Brand, has a built-in magnetic kickstand. I don't know. Maybe they'll send me one and tell me to go fuck myself again. Tell me to go fuck myself again, D-Brand. I want people to clip this. I may not be the most relevant person on this platform, but I'll make a video on that. The birds want me to make a video on that. Fuck D-Brand, but send me one, please, D-Brand. Thank you.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
He meant that. Do you hear the anger? It's kind of like, it's kind of like someone else.
This is your life now.
You hear the anger, and listen to Phil. He's angry. And you know what? He's not fucking blowing bubbles for you.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
Never blowing bubbles.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
You want to play games? We could definitely play games.
Oh, we'll play games. We can definitely play games.
Fuck around. You get no more bubbles.
Try to relax your anus.
Breast 360.
Product that'll bridge vast distances through shared stories and shared experiences. A product with games at its core, surrounded by limitless, connected digital entertainment.
And tonight, I'm going to show you
Yeah, I'll probably stream a little bit. That's why I'm saying
fueled
probably.
by high-definition graphics and sound. A world powered by a new generation of video games, inspired by human creativity and driven by human energy. It is a world where our partners will create unbelievable game experiences that will transform the very idea.
Birds hovered over. You did shrooms. Where the fuck did I would never be able to trust shrooms. Don't they come off cow shit?
Of entertainment.
Tonight we stand at a watershed moment in the history of entertainment. We are here to celebrate the launch of the world's most powerful game platform, Xbox 360. Xbox 360 is an entertainment experience that revolves around you and will take us all in to the next generation.
I'm never blown. That's actually good. Those bubbles of shit. No, Phil is never going to finish the job.
I fell down a fucking hole.
This is your life now.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
I was like, why does everyone keep on saying he's never blowing a chimp? And I'm like, oh, Bubbles the chimp. Michael Jackson. Razor Fist. Oh, man.
Generation. In the next generation, Xbox 360 will transform the way people play games and have fun. In the next generation, video games will become an essential component of global pop culture. In the next generation, this industry will reach an audience many times larger.
This is, you could like or dislike Steve Jobs as much as you want. But these motherfuckers look like they're at a community college with a PowerPoint presentation in front of them, giving a lecture. Steve Jobs could literally have a turd on the table and sell it to you, and you would be clamoring to buy it because he just had enthusiasm and a presence on stage. I know he was not a great person. That is almost confirmed by everyone who talks about him. But the guy knew how to engage with people on stage. This is like fucking kill me. Oh shit, you got the Elite and it still works. So the OG fat one still, but it's like one of the newer refinements of it, right? Philip Burnell.
Than we've ever dreamed of. Now, we've traveled a long way since we stood on stage 4 years ago at E3 to tell you about our plans for a new console called Xbox. Since then, we've gone from 0 customers to more than 20 million.
Yeah, it's OG.
From never having created a console game to unleashing Halo 2, which enjoyed the single largest day in entertainment history.
Which is pretty, at the time, I'm sure that's changed, but which is pretty interesting because it wasn't even like the install base of the, I mean, it outsold the GameCube, but it wasn't enormous, you know? So that's a pretty big deal.
Not just gaming industry, entertainment history. $125 million.
Yes, I'm streaming later tonight. This is not my mainstream.
4 years ago, Microsoft had never sold a game console at retail. Last Christmas holiday season, Xbox was the #1 selling console in North America. 3 years ago, we announced our plans to expand gameplay through the power of online gaming. Today, I'm delighted to announce that at the end of next month, 2 million subscribers will be online with Xbox Live.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
Great games.
Well, what's funny, there was a portion of games for the original Xbox that ran at 720p and 1080i, which was pretty impressive for the time, as I scratch my armpit because I want to.
An unbelievable ecosystem of partners, the industry's leading online game service, expanding market share.
No, Jordan Peterson sounds like Kermit the Frog, dude.
Together,
Period.
we've built a global, multi-billion-dollar business. It includes the world's leading developers, publishers, retailers, technology companies, broadband providers, and consumer brands. Now, ultimately, our success is rooted in games. And Xbox is setting new standards with powerhouse franchises like Splinter.
But he was, before everything went completely digital, he used to do like a lot of the communication systems for the stock exchanges and stuff like that and develop them, and that was a big thing in like the 90s, 80s. So
Splinter Cell, Dead or Alive, Project Gotham Racing.
Yeah, he sounds like Kermit the Frog, man.
Knights of the Old Republic, and Halo. In 2005, Xbox is the fastest growing platform for game sales.
Yeah, something with neckties back then. It's just, oh my God. Yeah, he kind of looks like, I forgot this guy's name. I used to know it. His face is familiar.
Right now, 6 of the top 10 selling games are Xbox titles. And gamers can expect more than 200 new Xbox titles this year, with hundreds more in 2006 and beyond. So let's take a look at some of the new titles coming to Xbox in 2005.
Yeah, Robbie Bach, there you go. What they don't tell you is they were dropping the original Xbox like a log of shit, because I think they had some kind of distribution deal fallout, I believe, with Nvidia. I think it was Nvidia. So they were making they weren't making it. They were really still losing money on the Xbox, the original Xbox, even towards the end of its life, and Microsoft wanted to drop that shit.
Everything is go.
We dropped this back in Black Mesa. Good luck out there, bro.
Still pretty crazy they got Half-Life 2 to run on the original Xbox. Doesn't run great. I actually just played that fairly recently out of interest. But it was playable. If you had no other way to play Half-Life 2 and you had an Xbox, it was a game that ran.
Buddy, gonna need it.
Can't even see the fucking title. NASCAR. That's the only name I can see.
Seems so real.
Indigo Prophecy. Yeah, but it was kind of in a way. I mean, look, business is business, and companies need to make money, and they don't want to tell you that they're going to totally kill off a product and stop people from buying it. But yeah, they really they killed it off harder than Nintendo kills off platforms. It was like Bill Gates himself. He was like putting boxes of 360 on store shelves and like putting the Xbox boxes in the garbage simultaneously. No pressure though. Ah, yeah. There's a lot of you here that don't even remember anything not being 16:9. There's some of you, I should say. That's crazy to me. 16:9 was just starting to become a thing during the 6th gen. Yeah. 360s had composite cables. They did that with the PS3 for a while too. It's like, hey, here's the HD generation. Here's your composite cables. Good luck. Alright, we get it. You're supporting the Xbox, even though you really aren't. Look, guys, we swear. We're supporting it. Look at those frame rates. That might be the compression, but no, I think that was definitely... Time Shift ended up being a 360 game. That never came out for the original Xbox, I believe. Not a bad game. Very, very cliche 7th gen, but at the same time, the whole time shifting where you could freeze time, shoot people, and then they come back to life and explode and shit was pretty cool. You could play that actually via backwards compatibility on your Xbox One and Series consoles. editor's asking me something. What is he asking me? Wasn't the original Xbox the only 6-gen? Yes. No. No. There was 16:9 on all three, I believe. The chat can correct me, but I'm pretty sure on all three you could do 16:9. But in terms of, like, I know... I believe there was... I know, like, Gran Turismo 4 for the PS2 could actually output a 1080i, which was surprising. That was one of the... But the original Xbox had the biggest library of actual 720p plus games. Wasn't a lot still. I mean, the hardware was limited, but it did run games, some games at 720p and some games at 1080i. The GameCube, I don't think, had anything in actual HD. But yeah, 16, but yeah, I was right. 16:9 was on all three consoles.
What a fantastic lineup of games that truly takes advantage of today's Xbox. And it doesn't stop there.
That we're going to drop like a giant log of shit as soon as we drop this new Xbox. But we're not. There was a... Buy those games, because that's pretty much it.
In 2006, we'll continue to market and sell Xbox consoles. By 2006, we'll have doubled the number of games on Xbox Live. And together, we'll continue to sell Xbox games by the
Porky's butthole loves me.
Now, many gamers have been asking us if they'll be
many gamers sound like Jordan Peterson.
Breasts.
able to play their favorite Xbox games on Xbox 360. Tonight, we are very pleased to...
Yeah, the emulation wasn't great, though. I remember that. They did it emulation.
...announce that Xbox 360 will be backwards compatible with the top-selling Xbox games.
Wasn't like it is now, though. It wasn't great. I remember that. What's up, Andreas? How are you?
So that brings us to Xbox 360. Our team has worked with passion and commitment to build the most powerful game platform in history.
So
and
insincere.
Xbox 360 will drive
so
category
insincere.
growth for the entire video game industry.
Why is it still only Steve Jobs? And again, I'm not kissing his ass. I know he was a dick, but he was the only one that got it. That, like, if you're genuine, man, people are like, here we have this passion and commitment. You don't have any passion and commitment. What are you holding in your three fingers? A nipple? Whose nipple? like people ain't feeling it. Ken Kutaragi versus Peter Moore. Fight! I don't know why I thought of a Mortal Kombat game when you said that, but I did. Nipple, nipple, nipple.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
That should be on my soundboard, too. I think someone said that the other day, and I just remembered now. Nipple, nipple, nipple.
Growth that will create an increasingly profitable worldwide business for our partners. How will we get there? Well, we'll start this Christmas holiday season when we launch Xbox 360 in North America, Europe, and Japan. That's right.
We're going to fail in Japan again.
Xbox 360 will...
The shitbox 360? Because it's a piece of fucking shit! I love that guy. This is my shit cube.
Will hit the stores this year as we orchestrate the industry's first 3-region console launch. We'll get there with the best launch lineup in game history. We'll get there by making games more approachable for people who didn't grow up with a game controller.
Didn't throw up with a crow up or throw up? They didn't throw up on their game controllers. They just shit on them.
Try to relax your anus.
Hey, Rich, speaking of Bloodborne, did you drop Demon Souls? No, I've been still playing it. it's weird. Like, I like playing those games on stream, and then I don't. Because it's kind of like... Because the game show effect like, I'm sure it's going to happen if I play Bloodborne today. Oh, Rich, go here. No, Rich, go here. You died here. You should have went up here. God damn it. The fuck is wrong with you? And I don't care. It's not that it bothers me. But it's kind of like I can't concentrate on the game because I'm listening, but I should be listening because people know what the fuck they're talking about. But then I'm getting fucked up because I'm trying to pay attention to both. So it's not necessarily the audience criticizing me that's stressful. It's not. But I suck at... That's why I can never be a game streamer. Ever.
Get there by offering games that deepen the social experience of playing games with your friends.
He's that deepen.
And we'll get there by integrating all of your digital entertainment devices and content into your gaming experience. Working together, we will transform thought leadership into market leadership. We built Xbox 360 with a mission, a dream, if you will.
We built Xbox 360 with a mission, a dream, if you will. So corny. So corny. Why script it? Just, you know what you should do to make it genuine? Have talking points and just go over each talking point. I understand they have like time slots they need to do, but figure it out. New York Times, Mom, how the hell are you? Because this just doesn't work. You can get away with a lower gigabyte Steam Deck. However, I have noticed that these speeds for the games work, but do they load significantly slower? Oh, yeah. Review Birds USA, the birds. Fuck birds. Playing it now, so far more forgiving. You think Demon Souls is more forgiving than Elden Ring? Ooh, I don't agree with that. We can agree to disagree on that one, Tickled Bruno. I think Elden Ring is more forgiving. Like, you don't realize, like, luxuries of, say, you're drinking an Estus flask or whatever, or Crimson Ass Tears in Elden Ring. Like, you could move. In Demon Souls, when you take a drink or eat your crescent moon grass to fill your health back up, you go still. And that little bit of movement sometimes could save your ass. It's small stuff like that that makes the games easier. So yes, movie aficionado. You can have an enjoyable experience with the lower gigabyte Steam Deck. But with that being said, games are going to load much slower. Noticeably slower than they would on an internal SSD. Terrence Williams, feel me up, Richie. No. Yeah, what happened with Gary Busey? At the 360 launch, I switched from PC gaming to console. I was very pro console gaming at that time, but I actually had a debate with Blackbuster Critic as to why console gaming was better. Rich was 2010. Rich was a fucking idiot. But at the time, when I got back into PC gaming, I remember I was working at Circuit City back in the day. And I was doing, this is before I started working IT. I was actually a technician there fixing computers, barely. I was such a fucking clown there. But anyway, besides the point. Crysis was just about to drop. That was the game everyone was talking about. That was crushing GPUs. You got to try Crysis. Crysis could never run on consoles at the time. There was, I know they ended up like rebuilding on CryEngine 3. Crysis for the 360 and PS3, but that wasn't a thing yet. So I built it was a dual-core AMD. This is back in 2007 with what graphics card was it? That had no business trying to run Crysis on. A NVIDIA 8600 GS, 256 megabytes of GDDR3, 256 megabytes. You could barely get that game to keep 30 FPS at medium at 720p, and that was when nothing was going on. But beyond that, though, that wasn't the issue with PC gaming. That was when Vista was in its prime, if you could call it ever having a prime. And Vista was shit. So I had this game that was running like garbage. The computer was constantly crashing because trying to run games on Vista at the time, especially, it was like, this is fucking terrible. So I went over to, I was already on the 360 because I started gaming in the summer or spring of 2007 again. I got the 360 from Toys R Us. But everyone was trying to, wait till you start gaming on PC. I'm like, this is the superior PC gaming experience. Shut the fuck up. This is terrible. But then Windows 7 came out and did a complete 180. DICE's Frostbite engine has gotten a bad downgrade. Why? What happened? Windows 8 was fucking garbage too, yeah. That's when they were trying to... Blackbuster was right about everything. Yeah, essentially. He was right about Chris Chan. I saw that coming. Like, even he said, though, with Chris Chan, that he didn't... I mean, we knew it was going to end terribly, but not... This is on another level. Yeah, it still uses, like, the window... That is true gaming from scratch. It still looks like Windows 8 on a Series X.
That dream is to inspire people to think about entertainment in new ways, to revolutionize the way people think about having fun. Now, at its core...
Well, the Vista interface at the time looked so modern compared, because Windows XP was looking dated by that point. I mean, now it looks dated, but back then, like, the animations and stuff were cool. But it was... I mean, and by the end... I know I'm stoned and going on a Vista tangent. And by the end, Vista was essentially like Windows 7 with all the updates, but it was so shit in the beginning.
Xbox 360 is a great game console. And Itagaki-san and Tecmo have always been at the forefront of delivering what a platform can deliver and what great games can achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, Dead or Alive 4 exclusively on Xbox 360.
This was a pretty amazing looking game for the time, especially. It still looks good. Not that you're going to be able to appreciate this with this crispy 240p video. Because everyone thought back then that everyone was going to have a fucking tablet with Windows 8. That was when everyone thought that that's when Microsoft, they were still trying to do Windows Phone. Everyone thought that was still, like, the iPad was still new-ish. Okay? They dropped the original iPad in 2010, so there was, like, tablet fever. And everyone thought that everyone was going to be walking around with a bunch of fucking tablets. So they tried to make Windows 8 tablet-friendly, but it sucked. And then on top of it, oh yeah, no one really cares about tablets except for iPads and the occasional fucking Galaxy. You know? But now, admittedly, with like these smaller devices with the Aya Neo Air, like I said, I'll talk about that more in the video. They should bring some tablet-esque features back. I know they have like a tablet mode, but it's not the same. Not go all out and ridiculous like with Windows 8 and it sucked, you know. But They kind of walked back too much, in my opinion. The Kindle's still around. Yeah, the Wii U, they tried to emulate the tablet shit, which was so stupid. You can't really tell here, but for the not time, these visuals are pretty mind-blowing. This music is corny as fucking hell, though. There is a better quality video. Is this E3? Oh, it is E3. Let's see if we can find it. E3 2005. E3 2005. Microsoft. Yeah, this is pretty... That's the one we were watching. Is this it? Yes. Thank you. Little letterbox, but that's okay.
Will hit the stores this year as we orchestrate the industry's first 3-region fun.
Let's see if we... Where is it? There we go. Boom. People played it for boobs. Nah, it was a pretty good fighter, man. Yeah, now you could actually, like, look at that. That's impressive for the time, you know? Yeah, much better. Good shit, Rational Skeptic. Her boob physics aren't that ridiculous. There's some of the ninja, like, they're like... Especially, what was that PS1 game where they like the boob physics were ridiculous, man? It was like they were like slapping her in the face.
Breasts.
I mean, look at the water effects. They're not, I mean, they're not amazing, but for the time, that was impressive, you know? Microsoft is trying so hard. They still have, I mean, they're doing better in Japan than they've done in, I think, maybe ever. But anyway, Quantum, my wife pegged me, so it's not a sin. TV, yes. You look at like the fog and lighting and shit. This is 2005, man. You know, that's pretty nuts. Philip Burnell is a man. He's a man. It's amazing how many games, though, did not stay at a stable 30 FPS during this generation, if you noticed that. Well, yeah, it sounds dated, but, well, it is dated, man. It's fucking 2005. I don't know what the hell that was. Yeah, bullshit. There was going to be hair like that in a 7th gen game. They have a tough time doing hair like that now. My wife begs me, so it's not a Sid TV. I'm not going to put it in a bottle and butt fuck it to you. All right, I'm kind of over this demo. They're pushing this way too long right now. All right, we got it. You showed a lot of gameplay. I'm all about gameplay. Hey, this is a trailer now, though. Like, we get it. Dead or Alive 4.
Once again, Team Ninja has taken Dead or Alive and gaming to the next level. This is the kind of first-day experience you can get when you partner with the best game creators in the world and arm them with great software.
And you still couldn't get into the Japanese market. You still could not do it.
Amazing hardware and a world-class service. There's been a lot of discussion recently about when the next generation of video games begins. It begins right now. It begins this year. And you just saw it with your very...
Begins right now, so it doesn't begin right now. Because the first next-gen console, not even yours, is out yet. So how does it begin right now? Is it right now or is it this year? You contradicted yourself, god damn it. Pretty idiot, how old are you? You only played the SNES, NES like once in your life. Remember the hilarious aftermath of the Guy game? No, what the hell's the Guy game? 34. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's yeah. You're young enough that.
Your own eyes, and there's plenty more where that came from. This year we'll have between 25 and 40 titles ready this calendar year for Xbox 360.
Begins right now. It begins this year. It starts tomorrow.
And the
maybe next Thursday.
Xbox 360 signals a shift as important as any shift we've seen in the industry to date. 30 years ago, we saw the birth of this industry with the arrival of the first 2D games. Games that appealed to everyone. They found a very broad audience.
Moose Hunter, you're 46.
Tens of millions. And we all remember those great ads from that era, where entire families surrounded the TV on the couch playing games together.
All right, Damien, it's over for you.
The leap from 2D to 3D, and we expanded and jumped.
What's making it over for you, though?
But at that very same time, we narrowed our scope to a much more limited demographic. Today, we're poised to make the leap again, this time from 3D to the HD era. Now, of course, the HD era is about high-definition graphics
and unbelievable sound. But the implications of the HD era are even more profound than that.
See, I think the 360 really was groundbreaking in a lot of ways and set a lot of the standards for now. Like, no, as much as the Red Ring of Death made that thing complete shit with a 50% failure rate, which that was unacceptably disgusting. Like, in terms of online infrastructure and stuff like that, they set a lot of the groundwork for how the gaming industry's run today.
It's about the ability to connect with your community and to personalize your experience. It's about unleashing the creative power of human energy. If we work together to create games and experiences that really deliver on the promise of the HD era.
360 at the beginning was a disaster. Towards the end, it was not, but in the beginning, absolutely a disaster,
As an industry,
100%.
We'll take games places they've never been before. In the HD era, we're going to reach 1 billion people with our medium. This is a great industry. It's a great business. Our revenues keep growing faster than music, than movies, than television. We're at the cutting
Nintelevision. He said Nintelevision.
edge of technology.
Imagine just Tommy just ran out on stage. This was like when he was like in his semi-prime still. Hey!
The leading edge of imagination. But we used to fill the living room with kids and adults, men and
God, he's such a fucking douche. I'm sorry. He really is, man. He's just that guy. He's just that guy. I saw it, but I just tried to be nice. Tried not to be negative. He's like the guy at a used car sales lot that you just run the fuck away from as soon as he starts walking towards you. Has on his cheesy ass suit. He's like, hey, oh no, I'm leaving. Fuck off. I don't want to buy a car. Not from you.
and women. But today, we're relying mainly on one type of consumer. Now, don't get me wrong. We love that guy, the 18 to 34-year-old male. He's the backbone of the industry. And with guys like Dead or Alive 4, he's guaranteed to get the incredible gaming experience that he craves. But
if Tommy was on stage, there would have, with massive crowds.
360 is also...
Yeah, what does he have, like 500,000 like fans or something? They're not, but Tommy, they're not fans of you. Just like Pat was right about that. You're playing like these classic songs from games that people love. You're just the vessel for that. It's not original music by you. Like, people like how I drop the news. Folks tell me Rich from ReviewTechUSA is a hard worker, y'all. What are you talking about? Like, that's like me talking to, oh, man. Rich is, I'm not a unique snow. I'm talking about the news, you know? I'm not saying that people don't like how I present it or people, but like, they, you know, it's whoop-de-doo. Oh, no, Rich is not doing the news anymore. Which I am kind of, depending on the story, which there ain't shit. I'll just go to someone else and watch it, you know?
Also the product that's going to push gaming back into the mainstream. The product that will fill that couch up with people from every demographic and from every market. How on the earth are we going to do that? Well, it takes a product with clear, compelling vision.
I did a video because of... That's a big deal what happened to Spawnwave, man. You know? But I look and it's like, ain't shit interesting. You know?
A vision that living entertainment is powered by human energy. And Xbox 360 is that product. We believe that when you unlock the power of human energy, we're going to bring everybody back to the living room. At the same time, we're going to unlock the potential not only of the medium, but of the entire industry.
That woman's face, like, right behind him on the camera. That's so awkward.
Next generation, 1 billion people will play our games. And it's not just because they figured out the latest combo move or they figured out how to get past level 14. but because we've unlocked the secret to creating games and entertainment experiences that they can call their own. Games that provide entertainment experiences that appeal to everyone. We've been working for years to fulfill this vision, and the result is Xbox 360. It's the product I've always dreamed of creating. It's the product that will fill the living room back with people who can't wait to get their hands on the controller, to get into the game, to be part of the excitement, and to join us in the community. They want to bring their own creativity to the experience and pay off the true promise of our medium.
That one dude looks like he's falling asleep behind him.
The essence of our vision is reflected in the name, Xbox 360. It's the product that delivers experiences where the player is always at center stage. You can see the essence of the vision in the console itself. When we designed Xbox 360, we wanted to create a physical presence that would be truly international. We collaborated with two...
Yeah, the asterisk to this is the giant, fucking enormous, you could use it as a weapon to murder someone, power brick that was on the outside of it. But yeah, that was their thing. They were trying to make a design that would appeal to like a Japan audience because the original Xbox, man, I got it right there. That motherfucker just looked like a giant, big black brick with a green top. It took me 2 years to get my PS. It took a lot of people 2 years. Isn't that crazy? Thank you for being a member for 6 months too. I appreciate that, man. But isn't that nuts? 2 years to get a current. It was, I mean, the only other time it was remotely, I gotta use the bathroom real quick, it was remotely as close to as bad was the Wii. For like a year and change was tough to get. But I'll be right back. I gotta go relax my anus. I released brown. I'm gonna go get some coffee because I need it. I'll be right back. Brown. Yeah, it's coffee brand coffee. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was like, you know what, if I'm going to take a dump, I might also get more coffee too.
Two of the best and most innovative design firms in the entire world. HER's Experimental Design Laboratory in Osaka, Japan, and Astro Studios in San Francisco.
What is with these even these pictures, just standing in front of graffiti. Look at these. Oh, God. Sometimes I think the mid-2000s was worse than the 90s. Hey, Rich, I had a health scare. Doctor thought it could be diabetes. It's just a UTI, so I feel fan-fucking-tastic about. Let's celebrate. Take it off slowly.
Oh, we'll play games. We can definitely play games.
We're trying to relax your anus. Your anus. Your shoulders. We're trying to relax your anus. Your anus. Your anus. We're trying to relax your anus. Your shoulders. Your anus. We're trying to relax your anus.
That's for Jeremy.
Try to relax your anus.
This is your life now.
Your anus. Try to relax your anus. Your anus. We're trying to relax your anus. Your anus. Your shoulders. We're trying to relax your anus. Your anus. Your anus.
Thank you very much, by the way. I'm glad everything is okay as well, too.
What they created is a product that distilled our vision to the very essence. It's a simple and elegant design, a design that reflects our hopes for the medium through its brightness and its optimism. It's a product that will be worldwide in its sensibility, yet timeless in its appeal. When we started the console, but the unity of our vision extends to the entire family of products that will all look great in the living room, no matter where you put them.
So that remote is so mid-2000s too, man. A lot of TV remotes, like, they look just like that. Or that all that slightly kind of rounded shit. Like, that's I remember, like, when 2000 rolled around, everything, like, even like UIs, user interfaces for like software on your Windows XP PC, everything had that fucking like metallic, reflective, like that was the future because it was 2000s now.
The family includes a wireless controller that finally untethers the gamer from the console.
Which was a huge deal.
Even with batteries, it'll be lighter, smaller, and more comfortable than today's Xbox controllers. Let's sit down and take a stroll with Cameo. Now, the great thing about Xbox 360...
Great controller. Yeah, unusable D-pad. And it's funny, you go back now, like, I used to be like, oh, the 360 controller was the most comfortable controller, hands down. Still is a great controller, still comfortable. However, it feels dated, though. Like, the triggers now feel very anemic. Like I said, D-pad. They still no one still could get a D-pad. The only I find it funny, like 8-bit though gets the D. Like, this is what a D-pad. There's two D-pad. The two arguably best D-pads in the world are the Super Nintendo D-pad, which 8-bit though pretty much nails, and the Genesis 6-button controller D-pad / Saturn D-pad. Make it like those to Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, because Nintendo, in my opinion, has forgot how to make D-pads too. Those are the two best D-pads. That's it. Same with Aya. I'm going to say that, like, oh, the D-pad's so much improved on the Air. And I'm listening to watching, I'm like, still, no, it still sucks. It's, like, usable. It's serviceable. But, like, you can't fucking compare, man. Yeah, no way. I mean... Oh, it's okay, but it's like spongier. And you could definitely, I was playing Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, but even like the throw of like the face buttons on the Super Nintendo controller are perfect. Like the throw on these consoles, even the Steam Deck too. Steam Deck, way too much throw. D-pad on the Steam Deck doesn't hold a candle to the Super Nintendo or / 8-bit though D-pads. Like, that's how to make, that's it. Like, there's no debate. Either make the D-pad like the SNES D-pad, Sega 6-button controller D-pad, like I said, / Saturn D-pad. Those are the de facto D-pads. If your D-pad isn't as good as theirs, it's a failed D-pad. D-pad on the, I never liked Sony's D-pads because it's not really a D-pad. It's
is the experience. Yeah,
and now like Microsoft, they went from like the spongy, worthless D-pad on the 360. Now it's almost too clicky. Like, do I have a 360 or a Series controller here? Yes, I do.
Breasts.
Like, now it's the other. Like, it's better. I would rather have it this way, but it's too much. Now it's like a little bit of, like, this has the perfect, it's still a little clicky, has just the right amount of throw. This is like too stiff. You said stiff. But you know what I mean. It's definitely more than usable, but it's not the Genesis 6-button / Saturn or Super Nintendo D-pad. Those are the best D-pads of all time.
Right here, you hit the Xbox guide button, and you launch the user...
Yeah, people would, like, show their... Yeah, they had to stop with those games because, like, people would end up showing their dicks while playing Uno. Oh, God. The human race is terrible. What's the Sun game at the end of the videos on main? I have no idea. That's my editor, man. I have no... You gotta ask him. JKB. Blade's dashboard was dope. I mean, I understand why they moved on from it from an aesthetic standpoint because it was looking dated, but it was so simple, straightforward. They should have stuck to this and just modernized it.
User interface for the HD era. It's an interface that's clean, consistent.
All right, who wants to move on to the Dreamcast G4 documentary? A lot of people keep saying it. Yes, I have mob connections. Nah, I don't. D-pad. It was too small, but it was still a serviceable D-pad. Not me. There's a lot of yeses. Sure. Hello, I want to see the Dreamcast. Yeah, that sounds more interesting. Okay. All right. There's a. That's fairly. Dreamcast documentary. G4 should just pop up. This is it, right? We could actually watch both of these. Fuck. Jimmy put in G4. I'm not sure that's G4. I think that's it. Icons. Icons. That was it.
On the heels of a doomed console,
it was a really crucial time for Sega.
The dream was born.
Yeah, because Bernie Stoller is much... Rest in peace, Bernie Stoller. He just passed away recently. But as much as he did a lot of good things for the Dreamcast to make it at least the launch be successful, fucking idiot, said, oh, the Saturn's not our future. You don't have a new console out yet, but the Saturn's not our future? Really, you would say that? No, you're in okay position to buy a PC now. The crypto market is fucking... Bear market's an understatement. I would buy.
And they really wanted to get back into the race, so they put out the Dreamcast.
It survived an executive shakeup.
So we had a parting of the ways, and I left the company.
Yeah, because they wanted to sell, I believe, the Dreamcast for $300. Bernie Stoller said, nah, fuck you, Sega Japan, we're selling it for $250. Then they fired him.
And saved a company.
Retailers started calling us in week 2 and 3 saying, we're out of stock. We're out of stock. We have to have more hardware. People are banging down our doors.
But the dream was short-lived.
Power Stone was pretty good.
And then it just stopped. I mean, it was just silent. Dreamcasts sat on store shelves.
This is the story of the Sega Dreamcast.
Here is a system that was ahead of its time.
Yeah, but the reputation of Sega was so marred at that point. Yeah, Resident Evil Code Veronica, that was a Dreamcast exclusive, wasn't it? Exclusive. This is so mid-2000s as well.
In November of 1994, Sega launches its Sega Saturn in Japan.
At the time of conception, it was going to be basically just a really souped-up 2D machine. With a little bit of hardware devoted to 3D. And once PlayStation announced their specs and it was going to be this full 3D machine, I think they went in there and kind of retooled it in a hurry, and it probably wasn't as efficient or as powerful as it probably should have been.
So you made it this far, huh?
Yeah, that was, Hold on one second. Out of your mind. Sorry. Text from somebody.
It actually went quite well in Japan, and Saturn had a long lifespan in Japan.
Thanks to strong arcade ports like Sega's Virtua Fighter series, the Saturn sells 5.8 million units in 3 years.
In Japan, Virtua Fighter...
Which is pretty... Even at that point, that was much earlier on in the gaming industry, that was nothing.
It's a phenomenon. Beyond anything we could even compare it to in the United States. I mean, nothing compares to how big it is there. And the idea of bringing that home and being able to play was a very bold, intelligent move on their part.
In Japan at this point, the arcades were still hot. Arcades have been dead for 10 years here in America, but in Japan...
Yeah, it's so crazy. That still always baffles me that they, like, just slapped on, like, oh, crap, the PlayStation's more powerful than the Saturn. It's just a 2D machine, mostly. Just throw another processor in there. It'll work. I mean, I'm really oversimplifying it, but the context is there.
Having an arcade hit meant something. So Saturn had an arcade
He does
hit.
kind of look like Steve Carell. Good point,
Porky's outside
butthole.
of Japan, and is quickly eclipsed by Sony's PlayStation.
The Saturn launched before PlayStation, I believe in the summer of 1995, which was the wrong time to launch.
Yeah, they launched it at E3 when they talked about... hold on. At E3, that's how they thought they were going. It was more. They thought they were going to one up Sony. Our console's available right now. Whoop-de-doo.
Also, at a very expensive price point. I believe it launched at $399 versus $299.
Is at my door. Who is at my door?
And did not have very good games. Were not that fun to play. And as we all know, If you want to play a game, you want to have fun.
They were looking to be like this kind of hardcore gamers machine with these ports of the arcade games, where the Sony came in with a completely different approach. You know, they wanted this to be a game.
I mean, what's cool is the Saturn was like, when you, especially if you had that expansion card, it did some great 2D fighting ports, man. There was definitely strong. It was actually better suited for them significantly than the PS1.
Games machine.
Nah, I'm not swatted. Whatever I see, there's a ring at your doorbell. I've always like, my butthole puckers a little. I actually don't even get. You know what's sad? I don't even get nervous if I get swatted.
For everybody, and they kind of really shifted the perception of everybody, of the consumers, towards what a game machine is.
Yeah, they thought that that was going to be like their surprise attack, but then there was no games or anything really for it. Like, what kind of surprise attack is that? And it's $100 more than your competitor? It was silly. It was that's why Sega, and that's why Sega's just making software now.
I think for the people who purchased Saturn, they were quite satisfied with the games that they got. There were some wonderful gameplay experiences available on the Saturn that weren't available elsewhere, so it was a purchase that ended up being of value to consumers. If people were purchasing Saturn because they felt like they could get 10 years worth of gameplay out of it with sufficient gameplay innovation over that period of time, I would say those people were probably disappointed.
Who's getting 10 years consecutive? Even now, like, the 7th generation was long as shit. But you're not getting 10 years. I mean, even if you think about Sony, with they support their consoles for a fucking long time. You're not getting, like, main AAA games usually. Who is this?
The Sega Saturn was very successful with the hardcore gamer crowd, and with the broader range of crowd, it wasn't quite as popular, but it was still a major name.
Sega was in a really, really tough position in that...
Like, yeah, 2005 to 2013, so that would have been 8 years for... That would have been 8 years for the 360, that it was the main console for Microsoft. So it's 2006 to 2013 for the PS3 as its main console.
They had extended themselves. They had overextended themselves. There was a time prior to Dreamcast, just prior to Dreamcast really, as Saturn was coming out, where Sega had the Saturn. In parts of the world, they were still selling the Master System. They had...
Yeah, South America.
Pico, they had 32X, they had Genesis, they had Game Gear.
It's pretty nuts,
They
man.
had Nomad. So yeah, that's 7 systems concurrently. They had really gotten themselves
What's
into
up,
a
Matt
rut.
Murphy?
They had completely botched the Saturn launch in North America.
I believe if we look at Saturn, it was a system that shouldn't have been launched. It was too difficult to develop for, therefore the games were not fun and the games weren't there. This is not about hardware. This is about software. Software has always driven hardware. If you don't have the software, the hardware will fail.
Saturn's failure causes Sega to lose $267.9 million and lay off 30% of its workforce.
There was all of a sudden a couple of years where they did.
Well, then you think about it too, beyond the fact that they were still supporting, like, even the Master System in some places of the world, which is ridiculous. They had the failure of the Sega CD, which sold a couple million or a few million, but still was considered a failure. They had the huge failure of the 32X. So people had such a bad... Like, Sega was trying to say without saying it that the 32X, this is your next-gen system. You just slap this add-on to your... And it wasn't. So you're telling... So wait, hold on. You're telling people to upgrade... And that's going to be their next-gen system, which is their Sega Genesis with this fucking giant tumor on top of it. But then you're a year later, you're launching oh, no, that's not the next-gen system. This is. They fucked up so bad.
Didn't have any kind of a console at all. And since Sega was very much a hardware-specific company, that was a very big problem.
Sega's solution is to begin work on a brand new console, and this time, the Japanese gaming giant is determined to learn from its past mistakes.
Well, we really had to reestablish ourselves as a company with all the retailers and gain the consumer confidence back because of the failures that Sega had.
Sega hopes to win back the consumer confidence it had lost and prepares a surprise announcement for E3.
And then, God, think about it too. So, worst case scenario, say you were an avid Sega fan. Okay? And you had a 32X, a Sega CD, like the first, 32X Sega CD, and the Genesis. You would have to have 3 of those big fucking power supplies that were like stacked like 2 of these on top of each other, making me make it a little shorter, and have to plug them all in somewhere. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster.
In 1998.
Then they had a few closed-door meetings. You had to sign your life away on this NDA. You, at pain of death, you could not tell people what you saw for months. By the second or third day of the show, I'd forgotten all about those little NDA thingies, those non-disclosure agreements that I had signed. I needed to write something for MSNBC about what...
You know what's interesting, too, is that Sega was shopping around for the graphics for the Dreamcast, and they were going between 3DFX and something NEC offered. That was kind of I'm pretty sure that was a pretty fatal blow to 3DFX when they didn't choose the 3DFX chipset.
What I had seen at the show, and so I wrote all about this great demonstration I had of Dreamcast behind closed doors. And then I woke up at 6 in the morning and realized what I had done and called MSNBC and said, no, turn it off, please. And they took it off, and of course Sega was furious. They were livid. The happy ending to the story was that my ratings on that particular article were so bad that Sega no longer cared. But granted, it only ran for 3 hours.
Codenamed the Katana.
Yeah, so there was NEC and there was 3DFX, and 3DFX didn't win out that.
This new system would later be known as the Dreamcast.
I was completely excited at the prospect of a next generation platform from Sega because it was clear that we had struggled with Saturn.
The Sega Saturn was a miserable failure for Sega, and they really wanted to get back into the race.
On top of the 32X being a miserable failure, on top of the Sega CD not miserable but being a failure.
So they put out the Dreamcast way before any of these next generations.
Fun fact, too, the Dreamcast, I believe, used Hall sensor. You know that whole big thing now you're seeing with all of, like, the controllers and consoles? The Hall sensor technology. They had a Hall sensor inside of the Dreamcast controller. I'm pretty sure. Where it used magnets to detect the movement.
Generation systems came out.
Oh, yeah, it was a failure in the end. But what was sad is that it was a great piece of hardware. It was easy to develop for. It was capable. It was mostly Sega's reputation by that point for all the things I mentioned. You know, people will forgive you once or twice. Like all companies, Nintendo has fucked up the Wii U. Virtua Boy. You could even argue the GameCube. N64 weren't failures of systems, but had shortcomings, which made them lose out to their competitors. So people will forgive you. But when you're just like hard failure after hard failure after hard, not only does it hit you financially, the consumer is like, how many more times? 32X, Sega. Sega CD, Sega. Sega Saturn, Sega. Again, great for 2D fighters. Don't get me wrong. I almost want a Sega Saturn again. But it's like, another one? Really? You know, and the Dreamcast was a good system. It should have been successful, but it was...
But would gamers trust Sega after all of their past failures?
Definitely what Sega was trying to incorporate.
Not with that chin here. Is that going down to his neck, too?
Into the Dreamcast, what they learned from the Saturn was a broader audience. They were trying to make it a game.
What game was that? CB96?
Gamer machine for everybody. I mean, they were really trying to shift gears.
No, I'm not crazy about the controller, too, for the Dreamcast. At all. Was not a great controller. It wasn't awful, but not great. But I believe it did have Hall sensors.
It was a really crucial time for Sega.
But it was also clear that the company had every intent of rejoining the battle, and we were all ready to rejoin the battle.
On November 27th, 1998, the Dreamcast
Yes, it does.
is made a reality to the Japanese gaming public.
That didn't have a great D-pad either. Serviceable, not the worst D-pad I've ever used, but it wasn't great.
One of the key events for all game consoles is the
Another disappointment is at that point we already had the DualShock from PlayStation. Why didn't they put an extra stick on that motherfucker? It made first-person shooters awkward as well.
Japanese launch.
Because the Dreamcast only had one analog stick.
Japanese launches up to this point were something big. I mean, really big. The Japanese government requested companies to not launch their game systems during weekdays because it cut down on national productivity. Trains would be slowed down as they'd go by Akihabara, which is the electric town in Tokyo.
Japanese people loved good graphics. At that time, Dreamcast was very...
Yes, 100%. That was... But like I said, it was cool. They were doing like the Hall sensor. I'm pretty sure it had like Hall sensors, and that mitigates significantly wear. Didn't help the Dreamcast didn't have DRMs. Oh god, it was so easy to burn games for that. You didn't even have to mod. You had the right model Dreamcast. You didn't have to even fucking mod anything. Literally, you could just burn the games. It would just read them, no problem. Ah, that must have stung for Sega.
Very great graphics, so everyone was excited about it.
But the launch is not without its problems. Due to manufacturing glitches, Sega fails to meet shipping goals for the console.
So with Dreamcast, they missed their first window of opportunity because NEC was making their graphics chip. And there weren't enough available for a full launch. So a lot of people left stores empty-handed.
Ah, sounds familiar.
The image of the time of the Sega Dreamcast, I think, with the Japanese public looks like maybe Sega's turning over a new leaf. It's kind of it was a new feeling for Sega, I think, and they really had a successful job of arousing interest in the public and showing that they were maybe ready to start something really strong here.
It was Sega's next big console after the Sega Saturn. The Sega Saturn was a miserable failure for Sega, and they really wanted to get back into the race. So they put out the Dreamcast way before any of these next generation systems came out.
With the US launch still more than a year away, Sega president Bernie Stolar takes note of the mistakes made by his Japanese partners.
And I was interested in rebuilding Sega, re-establishing the strength that it once had, both in software and hardware, and rebuild a team that became a world-class team to help drive an organization. And that's what I wanted to do, and I believe that the team did.
Oh god, the Neo Geo, the one, well, yeah, the Sega CD was a 1X read drive, but the 1X speeds. I think they finally made a Neo Geo CD that was double speed. Did make a huge difference, but God, accessing CDs at real-time speed, not even, oh my God.
It's not about one individual.
Load times were painful.
What I can say about Bernie Stolar is that he did a lot of things really, really right. You compare the Japanese launch of Dreamcast to the US launch of Dreamcast, and Bernie had the publicity in place. He had the enthusiasts really rallied so that they were excited.
While Sega is poised to take the US by storm, Sony is set to shake out the video game world.
And they fucking did.
At every moment with Dreamcast, it was always kind of threatened by the looming shadow of this unshown thing. The shadow of PlayStation 2 always loomed large over it.
At the beginning, everyone was very excited and behind the Sega Dreamcast, but as time went on, more and more focus shifted towards the PlayStation 2.
Yep. You own a Dreamcast?
Then, as early as March in 1999, just really a couple of months later, Ken Kutaragi unveiled PlayStation 2. And it was so much more powerful than Dreamcast, and it could do so much more than Dreamcast.
Sony.
Yes, it was. The Saturn controller looked, the one when they came out, the 3D one for Nights into Dreams, I believe, looked almost identical except black. Not almost, like it didn't have the place for the VMUs, but you get my point. Very similar.
Frankly, was very effective in holding out that promise to gamers.
And it didn't help. It wasn't. I think if Sega had a better reputation, the fact they didn't have a DVD drive wouldn't have killed it. The Dreamcast, but combining the fact that people were very fatigued on Sega because they fucked up multiple times, And the fact that you couldn't play DVDs, that just kind of sealed the deal. Yes, I've played plenty of Gears multiplayer and sucked at it too.
I think to a certain extent they succeeded in convincing their existing PlayStation 1 audience.
They have now made Halo Infinite playable on the Steam Deck. I am very excited to try that. I hope it works well.
Not to get a Dreamcast and to wait until this mythical new system was going to appear.
I had a VGA box, me too.
The
Look,
Dreamcast
made
excites
a huge
American
difference in the
gamers, with
picture for the
pre-orders for the
Dreamcast.
console reaching 300,000, shattering the record of 100,000.
Did I, Spider? I'm sorry. PS2 will always be my favorite console ever. Mine is still, I think, the Super Nintendo. What did I miss, bro? Sorry. AVGN said it best. When I did, Ants, 32 was quite literally the mushroom tip of the yeah, pretty much. And then you had to have, like, not only did you have to have the big-ass power supplies, but you also had to have a proprietary cable that went from the Sega Genesis to, because there were some sprites and stuff that were still rendered by the Genesis, so that you have to have a video pass-through to go to the 32X. So it combined together what the Genesis was rendering with the 32X, because maybe the Genesis they would use to like render like a sprite-based background on a while the 32X is doing 3D. It was such a fucking mess, man. Fuck.
Set by the PlayStation in 1995.
We really had to reestablish ourselves as a company and gain the consumer confidence back.
And they were very, very aggressive, pushing the whole idea of Dreamcast. There was a lot of excitement about the Sega name at that point.
Less than 1 month before the launch of the Dreamcast.
I remember being skeptical about the Dreamcast, and then like the more I saw, and then Soul Calibur, I'm not big into fighters anymore, man, but that game was beautiful.
The team at Sega is dealt an unexpected blow.
Right before the day itself, Bernie was fired from Sega.
I didn't agree with who was at that then became my boss, Mr. Okawa. So we had a parting of the ways, and I left the company.
Price.
It was unfortunate, but the team that I had built and the team that had really helped build the launch, they were in place. They were ready to go. They were ready to drive the product. And they did.
The Dreamcast juggernaut.
1080 snowboarding for the N64 was really good. Actually, how I like to play that game. I used to hate the music, like that like edgy mid 90s music. I turned the music off, and it actually had really good sound design. 1080, so you'd hear like the wind and the snow. I'm like, this is such a better way to play this game, man. No music.
Could not be derailed, and the system launched in the U.S. on September 9th, 1999, for $199.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Sega wanted it $250, and Bernie said, "Nah, we're launching at $199." And then Sega was like, "Okay, you're fired. Here's $5 million to fire you." $5 million golden parachute, man. YouTube, can you fire me and give me $5 million? I'll leave. I'll leave. Come on, Susan. Give me $5 million. I'll go walk off into the sunset. I'll go stream on Twitch. I'll be a titty streamer.
I think what made the Dreamcast so great are really the games. Right from launch, it had a couple really great games. It had Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur. Kalik was seriously wounded, but the soul still burns. Why do I know that verbatim?
Sonic Adventure was really popular.
That is true. I am a titty streamer right now.
They had great football games with Sega's NFL too.
Susan, I'll quit for $1 million. After taxes, though. I actually want the $1 million. Give me enough so the taxes make up, so that it's covered, and then I have $1 million in my pocket. I'm out. I'll go stream on Twitch. Go do some other projects. Come on, Susan. I'm partially kidding, but if they did, I'd leave. Being honest. Yeah, Susan, if you're giving me a 7-figure check, fire me. I'm fine. So long as that's a 7-figure check in my hand.
K-Series.
Wish I could get fired. Welcome to American capitalism, Spider Sammys.
One of the other things that made the Dreamcast so great is the online feature.
Yeah, he announced the price at $199. Sega wanted it at $250. I had the situation was right, but my pricing was incorrect, and they were pissed. That's a big cut. I'm sure that probably nailed their fucking margins. You know what I'm saying? They were like, "Get the fuck out of here! Here's a $5 million check, you son of a bitch." Someone please fucking fire me and give me $5 million right now. Yeah, it was great. I played that too. It was really good on here. I can put my shirt back on. My left nipple is frozen. You're a bird. Time to put on the only shirt that I have. My only shirt. Ugh.
Box, this came with a modem, this system. Immediately you could be
Yeah, that
getting
was a
on
big
and-
deal. That's true. It was the first system, I believe, out of the box with online. Granted, dial-up. However, you could get a broadband adapter, pop that out, and replace it with the broadband adapter.
Playing against other people across the country, and that was a real novelty back then.
Just 4 days after the U.S. launch, Sega...
Power Stone, the strange game that I like and don't dislike simultaneously. Aren't those payouts when fired? It's in the yes, it's in the contract, but imagine you getting hired at a job and them giving you a $5 million contractual. If they fire you, here's $5 million. Like, he literally did, like, say you worked at a grocery store. Hey, those are supposed to be $5.99. Nah, I feel like selling them for $4.99. What would they do? Would they fire you? Would they give you a multi-million-dollar payout for that? No. Well, yeah, it was definitely dial-up was the most common, but what I'm saying is it's actually pretty... that was pretty forward of Sega at the time, you know?
A report selling 372,000 Dreamcasts and bringing in over $132 million.
The launch was successful, Sega was successful, and it regained the confidence of both the retail community and the consumer.
We knew the Dreamcast was a tremendously successful launch when retailers started calling us in week 2 and 3 saying, we're out of stock, we're out of stock, we have to have more hardware, we have to have hardware, people are banging down our doors.
Sega tried to do all the things that they had done wrong with Saturn, right with Dreamcast. Saturn was very miserable to program. Dreamcast was a snap to program. Saturn had a very old-fashioned controller. It was really just a Genesis controller.
But it was that D-pad. They should have brought that D-pad over to the Dreamcast and another analog stick, and that would have been a hell of a... And change it. Yeah, it was a pretty Mac controller.
Still the kidney bean shape. Dreamcast had a newfangled controller. They really looked and tried to do everything different. And that side of things was really good.
But would it be good enough to hold off the PlayStation 2?
No. We already knew this back then, and we definitely know it now. No.
On October 26th of 2000, the heavily hyped PlayStation 2 is unleashed on the masses.
For the first year of PlayStation 2, the biggest hit on PlayStation 2 was Matrix. People were watching the movie. They weren't playing the game. PlayStation 2 sparked the DVD market in Japan. DVD hadn't caught on in Japan. And before PlayStation 2, you'd walk...
And at the time, a good DVD player, or just, yeah, even like math DVD players weren't that much... They were in the same price point as a PlayStation 2, so why not just buy a PlayStation 2? Sony was hoping that that was going to do the same thing with the PS3, what the Blu-ray was going to do, because like, oh, a good Blu-ray player when the PS3 first launches the same price, but people didn't give a shit as much about physical media at the time. I mean, we weren't in the streaming era yet, really, but it wasn't like people like what more so what it was is like DVDs look fine. Like, I don't really care about 1080p. Was, going from like VHS to DVD was such a. I mean, it was 1080p compared to like a 480p DVD. A 1080p Blu-ray compared to a 480p DVD is a difference. But it's going from like a VHS tape to a good encoded DVD. You couldn't compare them.
Through Akihabara, and there'd be game stores every place. After PlayStation 2, you'd walk through Akihabara, and you'd see DVD stores. And if you walked into these DVD stores, they were demonstrating movies using PlayStation 2.
The Dreamcast would have been a bigger player, in my opinion, had it had a DVD player installed from the get-go.
Sega looked over its shoulder, and they realized they had lost Japan. There was no resurrecting Japan. They might have been able to hold Japan if they'd had a DVD player in there. Because, in the early days...
Sega couldn't afford to put a DVD player in. I think I heard that's the reason. They just couldn't do it. So... For
PlayStation 2, PlayStation...
No, I have not played Final Fantasy Star Online.
2 was the cheapest DVD player in Japan. And if they had had that distinction, they might have been able to hold on.
PlayStation 2 sales hit $165 million in its first 3 days. And the Dreamcast suffers.
I mean, it was just silent. Dreamcast sat on store shelves.
They literally couldn't give them, they're like, hey, sign up for Dreamcast Online and we'll give you a free Dreamcast. Couldn't do it.
No games did that well again. Even good games just kind of sat there and people took them, but it was just somebody turned off the light.
It was a big hit with gamers, but unfortunately it wasn't really, commercially viable. It came in at a sort of awkward time and right before the release of the PlayStation 2. So unfortunately it didn't sort of build the fan base that it could have.
Sega, you've got to understand, is hemorrhaging money as a company. They realized that if they could sell 4 to 5 million units worldwide, that they could still have a profitable market. They could last a little longer.
Sega catches a break in December of 2000 when Sony can only ship half as many PS2s as it planned for the holiday season.
We had a crew of people who were very into being the underdog.
I'll allow you to die.
Oh, stop. No one's into being the underdog. No one. The only person that pretends that is Philip Burnell.
I'm never blowing bubbles ever again. I'm never blowing bubbles ever again.
Oh, I can't wait for the main audience tonight to hear that because...
Oh, we'll play games. We can definitely play games.
That's when I'll probably play some Bloodborne too, by the way. Because I'm probably going to stop after this, eat dinner, and then come back for the main stream later.
Like a warrior.
Shenmue was actually supposed to be on the Saturn, I believe. There's a demo that's out there.
Oddly enough, becoming the underdog almost galvanized us further. Really brought us together as a team because we knew exactly what we had to do.
And they thought, we drop our price, we come out aggressive with all kinds of things, including you could have a free Dreamcast. And it wasn't enough.
I told you. They pushed, I was right.
They pushed. And at the end of Christmas, they hadn't made headway.
What are you saying?
Rumors started coming out that Sega was no longer manufacturing Dreamcast.
No!
And I remember interviewing Charlie Belfield. I said, the rumor is that you're going to discontinue. And he said, no, that's not true. And I said...
Court, they always do that. Just like I always say when I go about to get laid off. Is there something going on? Everything's fine, Rich. Oh, wait, a week later, you're laid off.
Are you manufacturing them now? And he said, no. And I said, how much inventory do you have? And it turned out that there was more inventory in the channel and in their warehouses than there was sold. And I said, okay, that doesn't look good. Charlie, when will you start manufacturing again? And that was when Charlie said, we have no plan to start manufacturing again. Yeah. And that was the first time Sega came out and officially announced that, we've discontinued.
It was a real crush to the egos of everybody. I mean, I remember I was in the meeting where we were told that the Dreamcast was not going to continue, and everyone just was silent. Everyone was just speechless.
That's such a early 2000s beard. Even the beard.
No one said a thing. It was just very heavy, very oppressive. I don't know that Sega could have done anything differently to really save the Dreamcast. The biggest nail in their coffin was Sony really pushing the PlayStation 2.
And Shenmue wasn't going to save them.
To the delight of gamers,
I know it's like a cult classic game, and there's still a very devout following of Shenmue, but that wasn't it.
Around the world.
Do you know where I could find some sailors? Isn't that the line? I just felt like saying sailors.
Sega announces that they are going to create games for all consoles.
I think it was a time where Sega really had to address itself and say, are we going to now just be a software company? And if we are going to be a software company, is the team that we have here going to be one of the best organizations to build great software? Because that's going to have to be our focus.
Come on, let's begin.
And that's going to have to be our drive. And that's how we're going to be able to survive.
Go!
God, it's amazing how much, like, the visuals have changed. Look how basic that looks, but that was mind-blowing back then. Yes. What was the... Yeah, EA... They didn't... Something happened, though. I think EA wanted to, and then Sega was like, fuck off. At first, I thought it was EA that told Sega. I don't remember. The story's weird with that.
So when Sega said that they would no longer be hardware-specific, there was a lot of excitement. They really were the belle of the ball. Microsoft, for their Xbox console, got Sega to promise them Panzer Dragoon. A beautiful game. But Sony turned around and they had the Virtua Fighter series locked up for themselves. You know, that was the arcade hit, and that was the
Snow Deformation is pretty cool.
bigger seller. Especially in Japan, that was a big seller.
Virtua Tennis.
There was a
Virtua Tennis is so fun. I wish there was a good one still.
very committed Sega fan base right up till the end of Dreamcast that very much appreciated the Sega style of gameplay. As we transition
Yeah, the Virtua Tennis games for the Dreamcast are so good.
from a hardware company pushing the Dreamcast platform to a software developer, we were able to successfully convert
Me
the
too,
Sega
Ryan
fan
Cox.
base
Me
to
too.
other hardware platforms via our games. We were able to explain to gamers, yeah, you can still have your jet grind radio. But it's just going to happen on these other platforms, but we promise you it'll be the same exact wonderful gameplay experience. And Sega gamers came along with us.
But the Dreamcast will live on in gamers' hearts and memories.
If you picked up a Dreamcast, you were holding something that felt like a gamer's machine. It felt like it was made for games.
Yeah, that controller was pretty
Without
awkward.
a doubt, the Dreamcast showed the world that online gaming was possible and fun and interesting on console. So there's no question with respect to online gameplay, Dreamcast will be remembered forever.
Dreamcast was something special, mostly because, you know, it came from Sega. So the games that really were released with it, especially at the beginning, were some of the best games of the last generation, or even this one.
I've been in this industry a long time. I've seen a lot of hardware companies come and go. Dreamcast will always have a position in this industry from a historic standpoint. Because it did so well in the first 2 years that it was there, it really established itself.
Here is a system that was ahead of its time. People who owned a Dreamcast in 2000 and
Yeah, Resident Evil Code Veronica was pretty
in
good.
2001 were probably a lot happier than people who owned a PlayStation 2.
Yeah, a lot of people think like the Xbox, the original one, was in a way a spiritual successor of the Dreamcast.
Because there were a lot of great games for Dreamcast. I think that it will go down in history as one of the more desirable systems.
I'll start with Easter egg.
Interesting, man. Yeah, Dreamcast was great. So, I mean, yeah, it failed in the end, but it was a hell of a way for Sega to go out. All right, guys, I'll be back later. Going to eat some dinner, and I'll see you in a couple hours. Have a good one.